When you're browsing through the usual ISIS propaganda, RPGs, black flags, mayhem, you might also stumble on this.
ده سكوات وده طبعا للرجل أمامي.
It is a workout video for jihadis featuring a young man who introduces himself as Islam Yakan.
فالنهارده الفيديو ده ممكن يعني يقدم خاصة للمجاهدين في سوريا والناس
But it turns out this was not his first exercise video. Before the jihad in Syria, there was the gym in Egypt. Back then, Islam was religious, but his interests were far from extreme.
طبعا كل واحد حلم حياته ان هو يكون عنده 6 باكس عشان يروح بقى يلعب على البحر واللي يروح يلعب على البسين والناس تتفرج عليه والكلام ده كله. المهم يعني
We wanted to find out how someone could change so dramatically. So we spoke to Islam's close friends in Cairo. Hossein Atif, who worked out with Islam, talked about feeling alienated in post-revolution Egypt. Khalid Aidel, who went to school with Islam, said they struggled for balance in a society that's modern yet deeply defined by religion. All three were young, middle class, and torn, but only Islam joined ISIS. Islam grew up in the middle-class neighborhood of Heliopolis, attending a French language school and later Ain Shams University, where he studied law. He spent most of his free time working out with friends like Hossein. Hossein first met Islam online in 2009, asking to photograph him for a bodybuilding blog.
فكرني جاي في الأول بس لما عرف إن أنا مش جاي وكده فاداني الأمان شوية فاهمة؟ ده اللي خلانا نبقى أصحاب يعني.
At the gym, Islam worked out relentlessly, his goal a career in personal training. Hossein was drawn to portrait photography. He took these pictures of Islam. Both were ambitious but restless.
اللي هو نفسه يشتغل ويسافر بره ويقضيها ويصاحب واحدة جامدة وكده يعني.
هو ما كانش في المدرسة ما كانش خالص في موضوع البنات ده. بعد الجيم وكده نقول مثلا في الجامعة ابتدت الحوار ده. عارف بنات وبتاع يعني كانت ماشية معاه كويس يعني.
هي قاعدة لوحدها ليه يا جدعان؟ مش شايفة أنا عايزة تيجي تقعد هنا معانا جنب كريم. مين؟ جنب أنا وكريم. مين؟ اللي هناك؟ من الفايد. يا عم والله كده. يقول كده.
Khalid and Islam were not particularly observant, but religion was always present in their lives. So sinning led to guilt, especially when it came to women.
ونطيل المحزقه والحاجات المفتوحه والصدر الباين والشعر النازل والحاجات حاجات كتير.
Khalid shot this video of Islam and another friend, Mahmoud, pretending to host a show about the temptation of sex and girls. They called it Piety and Chicks.
اقول اغض البصر ابص الناحيه الثانيه ابص الناحيه الثانيه الاقي لك واحده لابسه مش عارف
صحيح
لابسه ليه انت بقى مش عارف ايه ابص اقول فاهم يعني مش هنزل اسجد على الارض يعني عشان ما اشوفش نسوان.
نعم
اعمل انا
جاب جون ولا ايه؟
Islam's dilemma deepened when he lost a close friend, Moheb, in a motorcycle accident in March 2012.
فهو حس ان دي اشارات من ربنا اللي هو ربنا بيقول له خد بالك. سواء كلنا فهمناها كده بس يعني احنا قعدنا بتاع اسبوعين ولا اسبوع وخلاص الحوار عدى يعني بس هو ما عداش عليه.
Islam turned inwards. Hossein took his camera to the street, covering the uncertain course of Egypt's revolution for local papers. Khalid took a job at a trendy mall near Islam's home. They pursued different interests, but they remained friends.
ما بقاش بقى يخرج بقى حفلات والهيصه دي لا حرام والكلام دوت وما ينفعش. قال بعد كده انا مش هصور نفسي في الجيم وانا يعني مش لابس حاجه تمام عوره تمام. انا هشيل كل البنات اللي عندي على الفيسبوك هخلي عندي الولاد بس.
Islam adopted a more stern look, but around friends and family he was still playful, even as he became more religious.
لا هو كان مربي دقنه وماشي زينا.
While his friends wavered, Islam was firm in his decision, dedicating this life to God. He prayed more frequently at a neighborhood mosque led by a tolerant imam, Sheikh Ramadan Fadl.
أحببت إن أنا يعني أخليه يعني معنا في المسجد برضه يصلي وكده، فأشرت عليه بحفظ القرآن.
Islam memorized a third of the Quran over the next year. But he wanted an even more definitive view of life, so he turned to the popular teachings of ultra-conservative preachers like Sheikh Muhammad Hussein Yaqub.
الطالب الذي يحب زميلته في الكلية لا لمسها ولا كلمها ولا كلمها في التليفون ولا بعت لها رسالة ولا بيبص لها، بيحبها وخلاص لأنها منتقبة. زنا، زنا، هذا زنا القلب.
معاكم اسلام كان بما اني ساكن عند قصر الاتحادية والنهارده مظاهرات والدنيا مقلوبة، للأسف الجيم كان قافل وكان عندي ظهر وباي.
Islam watched as Egypt descended into turmoil and felt like the country drifted farther and farther from his vision for a true Islamic state. The Egyptian army forced the Muslim Brotherhood from power, unleashing violence in the streets. Hossein was caught in some of the deadly clashes and soon after gave up protesting for change. Then, in August 2013, Islam went into seclusion during Ramadan at a mosque surrounded by protests. After 10 days of worship, he returned with a newfound purpose. And days later, he left again, this time for Syria. He never said goodbye to family or friends.
فص ملح وداب مش ملوش ليه أثر خالص. قلت طب جايز الواحد يستنى شوية كده يشوف هو هيعمل ايه، يعني احنا دايما كنا مستنيين الابديت بتاع اسلام.
Islam joined ISIS, adopting the nom de guerre Abu Salma. Since then, he has filled his social media accounts with images of brutality and death. He says he will only return to Egypt as a conqueror to bring the country under the fold of the Islamic State, and his tweets candidly incite acts of terror around the world. The friends he left behind struggled to understand Islam's path. Khalid is now a senior salesman at the toy store. Hossein reinvented himself as a wedding photographer and often wonders where his life will lead.